Welcome to episode 4, part 2 of the brain game. So, we did part 1 yesterday, and we are just watching, all of us are watching ourselves on about, how we did we actually make all the points? And, I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yep.
And, but it's not sufficient because there's so much to cover. And oddly enough, we are trying to implement some of the stuff that we were talking about on the tennis court. So exciting stuff. We have more to cover today. And once again, we have a full house with myself, Soham, Tarun, and Rockstar Alex. So we are all here. It's Saturday evening, and we're all relaxed, and we have a lot of things to talk about today as well. So, first thing first, I hope people are enjoying some of the content that we are putting out there on the various social media sites like Instagram, Facebook, Meta, uh, and uh, and listening in on Spotify as well. And I'm trying to I'm trying to be as natural and good at advertising us like Tarun has always done in all these episodes. So it's like trying to match up to Tarun's level.
Come on.
To make sure that I think I from some of the comments that I have had from some of the friends is I think we are hitting the right spots. We are very relatable, and we are just looking forward to growing even bigger. So that brings us to this episode. Of course, there's a lot of content we want to talk about. We already spoke about some of the stuff about mental aspects of tennis, the mindset, self-awareness, about emotions, about a variety of items. So, in terms of today, we want to cover a few things about preparation, visualization, some of the routines. We also want to talk about singles and doubles tennis at some point because I think it's very important to bring up, doubles tennis as well because primarily we have been talking a lot about singles. So we want to shed some light on doubles tennis as well. But in terms of this episode, I'm looking forward to having a great session with you guys, and hope the listeners will enjoy this episode. I want to hand it over to Tarun to start with his opening remarks for this episode.
Hey guys,
Sure.
thanks Soham. Hey guys, I will start with my usual spiel about the Tennishackery podcast. So please follow us again, like what Soham mentioned, on all our socials and our website. The little piggy is still out there, so our website is not. So I'll keep repeating this joke until the IT guy, which is myself, gets to getting this done. You see, I see vigorous nods of heads there. So, all right. Now, let's get to the start of the episode without any further ado. So, like Soham mentioned, in the previous episode, we discussed a lot on, the mindset of tennis, which is, self-awareness, motivation, expectations, emotion, energy. So today we are going into the more concrete stuff, So I will start first by continuing on the growth mindset. So we know that with the growth mindset, it's all about, being open-minded and learning, the process of learning and improving. So let's dive deeper into how to actually do it. So I'd like to ask Alex, so if you could give us a few examples of situations where, how do players at in your pro career as a player and as well as a coach deal with this whole process of improvement in tennis? Like, do they want to get perfect, or do they just want to just get better than what they were yesterday? And if you could take us that. I know it's like a very broad question, but take it any way you feel. Please go.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it really depends on who you're working with.
Right.
So I'm talking as a coach now. So like it's so different. Like, and I work with really like a lot of different levels and ages. And so like I'll give you one example. For example, this girl that I worked with a few years ago, she came to me and I watched her play before, and she worked with a coach, and I watched the style, and it's a very different style than what I coach. And she was a great athlete, really hungry. And the dad came to me and said like, hey, we're looking for a switch, and are you available? And I said very honest, well, this is a different philosophy. It would be a lot of changes.
Right.
So I'm just going to be honest. It would need to be, it would need to make sense because that's what I would do. She was 14, 15, wanted to go to college, had only 3 years left.
Mhm.
And so there was a lot of change that we had to do, like a lot, you know, like the swing path that she believed in was like you take the ball right on the rice. You know,
Right.
that's what she was being taught. Only low high, like super
Yeah.
old school, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so I really had to like teach her like how to read the ball, the timing of the bounce, swing path, complete swing path. So there's so much. So like then it was, hey, no tournaments for a while. We need consistent practice. We're gonna start with like progressions, you know. We're gonna start with super simple stuff, and let's not get bored, but let's really be consistent with it. And if that's what you want, like we can do it. And you're an incredible athlete, but it's gonna require commitment to do that. And it was hard for her.
Mhm.
Like it was definitely hard, but she
Yep.
she did it, and she did great. Um, it probably took a good year to start playing tournaments. She might have played a few, but now it's great. You know, it's 2.5 years later. Now it's great, and it's
Right.
just going very
Mhm.
fast. So that's one example, right?
Mhm.
That's usually not the common one.
Right. Right.
um, and then another example is I have this new player that I just started working with, and she's a senior in high school and wants to go to college. And she has a very extreme forehand. She has a Western grip.
Mm.
And she's a senior in high school, hasn't committed to college yet, is looking at D2 and D1 schools.
Wow.
So then the question is, okay, what are we going to improve, right? She's a
Yeah.
senior in high school. We're definitely not going to change her grip. And I told her that I was like, this is what I would like to do is like just get you more confident, get you a lot of reps, get you better at playing smarter and the right ball in certain scenarios, and get you very physical and consistent. Um, and we'll go from there.
Nice.
So not too many changes. Then another player, Katie Volinets, that I just started working with again, that has her main coach. She's a pro player. She has her main coach that travels with her and sees her a lot more. And now I'm starting to take her when she's home for 10 days. And
Mm.
she is in season on clay, and she already has a coach and she's been doing well. So then it's like, okay, how can I help in this scenario?
Right.
I'm going to talk to the other coach. I'm going to talk to her what they're working on. I'm not going to change many things. I'm going to have some feedback, and I'm going to continue what they're doing. Um, and we're going to learn to work together and be a team.
That's
So yeah, so those are three very different
Yes, this makes total sense. Yeah.
examples.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
talk about a lot of the coaches talk about stages of development, and as a coach, you gave like the perfect examples of like what stage people are and how you guide them. So it's amazing. But what about something fundamental? So often in rec tennis, I mean not in rec, so junior tennis, I see kids having very poor serve mechanics. They go with the poor serve mechanics, and they are you can see that in not only the serve is ineffective, down the line it could lead to overuse injuries too. So if you were building or reconstructing somebody's serve, so what would be your process? Something as fundamental as a serve.
sure. Well, it would depend what we
Right.
would choose to work on, but
Exactly. Yeah.
let's choose let's say like a lot of times the players, like let's start with the base with like their
Yeah.
feet.
Right.
A lot of times the players, they don't use both feet. They use the front foot a lot, and so we would do progressions for that. So
Yeah.
like how do you learn to load correctly? Um, one of the drills I like to do is that they put a bunch of balls behind their feet when they're standing in the starting position for the serve.
Right.
So like it's really like diagonally behind you. So you have to turn diagonally to grab the ball. You're not going to bend your back. You're going to have like the right posture and really bend your legs. Grab the ball behind you and then throw it.
Hmm.
So you're not serving yet. So it's progression one, not serving yet. You're learning how to use both legs.
Right.
Then progression two would be that you start using your racket slowly, using the legs, being aware of what you just did. Doesn't really matter if you hit in yet. Then the third progression would be like, hey, let's serve 20 balls and see how many you can get in. There's a little bit of pressure. And then the last progression could be play points.
Yeah.
But in those progressions, like you always want to be aware if they're still comfortable and you're not moving too fast,
True.
because you don't want them to leave what they're being taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a couple of questions for you guys, and feel free to answer it, whoever wants to. Alex, you mentioned something about before you go into tournaments, you want to work on certain things.
Mhm.
You want to be tournament ready. Is there a timeline for this? I mean, when is somebody actually tournament ready? Or do you just kind of throw somebody, kids, if you're talking about junior tennis, just throw them for the exposure and experience? Or do you actually have to progress? You're talking about the progression. You have to work from step one, step two, step three, step four, until they're actually ready to play matches. And eventually, what I want to get to, the topic after this, is how do you actually win a tennis match? I mean, what is needed? For me, that's a very fascinating topic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Tarun, Alex, you want to share some inputs on this?
Alex, please. Yeah.
I can start.
Yeah.
I think it's important to compete. I think that players get bored when there is no competition, at least most of them, and it keeps them hungry. It keeps them aware of what they need to work on. I think it's smart to be aware of when it's a good time to take a few weeks off, a
Yes.
month, or if you're working on some bigger things, confidence is low. If they've lost some matches in a row, go find some easier matches, build your confidence. I think it's important that you're not losing a lot. I think a lot of kids actually stop playing when they lose a lot.
Or if they get burnt out.
Yeah.
That too, for sure. Yeah, a lot of kids play too many tournaments.
Yeah.
It's very important that you don't play too many tournaments.
Yes.
So but I think, how do you get tournament ready? It's different per level, right? But you should play points a lot before. You should preferably have some scenarios that you build confidence through. Ideally, you are working on your strengths before tournaments. You're not hampering your weaknesses, so you're feeling more tight. You should work on your weaknesses as well,
Right.
but mostly on your strengths before tournaments. Before tournaments, like we've said in the fitness episode, you're not going to go crazy with fitness. And an intention is important. Like with your coach, if your parent is bringing you, just have an intention for that match. So you're in that process, that the intention could be something like, hey, let's really make sure that we're really positive today. We're going to fight till the end, and we're playing 1 point at a time. And I've been working on coming to the net a little bit more. So we're going to come to the net just a little bit more. And if that happens, doesn't matter what happens, we're happy. Okay. So let's do that.
Excellent point. Yes. Yes. It's
well said. Well said. I think sometimes I feel players want to work on too many things, and that kind of confuses them, and they kind of lose the plot, and they end up losing matches because I think they're not very focused and disciplined. And this is where the mind comes into play. And one of the things I want to add before handing it back to Tarun is, you spoke about strengths and weaknesses. I think that's critical, because one of the things I enjoy doing, not just in tennis, but in other things, is actually performing a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. And I think it's key, especially as you're warming up, as you're playing, in the match, the first 5-10 minutes, you're actually constantly analyzing, evaluating, reevaluating your strengths, weaknesses. How can you leverage your strengths? How can you attack your opponent's weaknesses? Because it's about the opponent as well. You are trying to optimize your performance, but I think it's doing this kind of analysis constantly, problem solving, management of matches is very key. So coming back to you, Tarun, can you give us some examples of, you have been playing tennis for a while too. And especially for all of our recreational players who are listening in on this episode, I mean, what are some of the ways you have? I'm not talking about hacking a match.
Right.
I'm talking about what's your not even routine, but it's how are you winning matches? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. Firstly, I'm not winning too many matches, but yes, I'm as a coach, I'm understanding the process. So the first thing in a match is I believe it's very important is uh, in the middle of a match, you need to understand who is doing what to whom. So this is a question of pattern recognition. You're recognizing patterns of play as they happen. So this line, who's doing what to whom, is basically, I'm quoting Brad Gilbert from his famous book, Winning Ugly. So you have to realize what's going on in a match. So if does your opponent, what is their stronger wing? Firstly, are they left-handed or right-handed? Believe me, many people actually don't know. At the end of the match, they realize, oh, was my opponent left-handed? So no wonder I wasn't able to return their serve on the ad side. So so you need to understand, observe, and analyze. You need to know this, that the focus should be on studying your opponent. Yes, you might have your own insecurities going into the match. We had a whole episode yesterday about about that. But once you step on the court, keep your focus external on your opponent. Understand right from the warm-ups, like Soham mentioned, the term SWOT analysis. uh, Understand what is their which way they like to move, which is their favored wing. If the ball is in the middle, do they move to their left or to their right to hit the ball? So which means, do they favor their forehand or backhand? And then are they comfortable hitting volleys? Like
Great
test it out.
points. Yes.
Yes. As the match starts, start probing them. So play your so I call this the first principles of tennis, which is basically understand, keep the ball cross court, don't miss, middle ball goes to middle, cross court goes to cross court, you go line only on short balls, and follow these principles, but at the same time, probe your opponent's game. Once you find a weakness, it's start pounding on it. Sometimes you may find they don't like high backhand. Sometimes you may find that tall people typically don't like low balls. Slice them. So it's a constant mental battle. I think, Soham, you described this as a chess match. Yes, in the previous episode. So yes,
Right.
just keep going with that. And but the thing is, understand that the objective of tennis is to sabotage your opponent's game. You help them lose. So find out what their weakness is and keep pounding on it. And if something is working, don't change the plan. So
Fascinating,
keep it simple.
fascinating stuff. One of the things I want to ask both of you, if you have ever experiences, or whether, in terms of management of matches and stuff like that, Tarun, I've even heard you talk about the 16-second rule. So maybe you can have a, dive into that too. But there are a lot of players who kind of are fearful of losing, which we spoke about yesterday, or there is a uh, question of choking. Like, how does the mind resolve or prepare to kind of limit choking? Or choking is it's stress, right? Like, you're stressed, and not everybody is able to handle it very well. So I want you guys to talk about, from a from a mindset perspective, like, how do you handle that? And maybe start with the 16-second rule.
Sure. So firstly, let me start with the 16-second rule, because this is a very, very common thing that's seen, that affects specifically juniors a lot. Like, you can see them, getting mad, throwing rackets, and playing as though they don't enjoy the match. There is no flow in their game. This is a very common observation. So, and the body language is so negative. It's almost like they don't enjoy competing, but on the practice course they are excellent. You can see this whole gap between match play and practice play. So the 16-second rule, again, this has to be practice. Again, this is not like a secret sauce, but it has to be practice. It's basically a formula given by the renowned sports psychologist Dr. Jim Lohr. So it talks about how, so between points you get up to 20 seconds in any match. So use that time. So essentially what you're doing is you're maintaining a positive body language, you relax yourself, and then you start your preparation. You think about like, for example, if you're serving, think about your serve targets, and then start your rituals, your serving rituals. So maybe you have a specific ball bouncing ritual. You have Nadal with his famous butt scratching, which polarizes people. So again, so find something that works for you, but the thing is to stick to it. And you keep repeating it. So what you're essentially doing is you're quietening everything down. You're letting your heart rate settle, your mind settle, and relaxing yourself. And again, remember, a relaxed body is the one that produces the most power. It's like your whip. Especially relaxing your dominant arm and shoulders is very important. So yeah, Alex, please, if you have anything to
Yeah,
add.
yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
That was really well said though.
Yeah.
Um, I I mean I can only speak really from like what I do. And what helps me is with stress management. Like I know that when I have matches, the things that help me, like what are good reminders, like I actually write on my hand or on my forearm a few things. Sometimes it's specific for that week, but usually it always has something like be physical. Because I know that when I'm physical, when I'm moving well, like I'm probably playing decent, at least decent. I play bad when I'm not moving well, when I'm tight, you know? So be physical, like exaggerate it. I might write down, use your legs for your serve, because I know I'll accelerate. And 1 point at a time. Like that's really the key one for me always, is 1 point at a time. And what else do I do in singles? Like I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever like watched the interviews of Roger and Rafa. I know some of you have, so you'll probably understand what I'm gonna say. A lot of times, what they say before their matches is they create already this growth mindset. This like they are never gonna put an expectation on themselves, right? Djokovic does a little bit actually sometimes, which surprises me. But Rafa and Roger and like most pros, almost all, they say something like, "Yeah, I'm playing good. I'm feeling really good. It's going to be really tough. You know, this person is a great player, and I'm going to really have to work through some good things. But I'm excited and I'm ready for a good effort. You know." I try to do that right away. I always try to create an environment for myself that I feel more relaxed in. If I'm playing for a team, I do it with my teammates. If I have a coach, I do it with a coach. If I am the coach, then I try to do that with the player. If a player comes to me and they say like I should be fine, like right away, it's like it's like a red flag for me, because I'm like, I've seen it so many times that player comes back and feels terrible, feels defeated. And I think it's important to just take away those expectations and be very much focused on what you can do, what's in your control. So you take away a lot of the stress.
Golden words right there. And to again, to kind of extend this topic, one of the things that I've heard and I try to implement too is always going into a match having plans A, B, and C, maybe even D. Like, of course, you have to have a pretty big toolbox of skills that that you can go to every time, say, plan A doesn't work. We encounter various different types of players, and also one of the things which I find very, it's insane, it's fascinating, is you don't play the same on a daily basis. You play well one day, you play mediocre the next day, then you play really well the third day, then you play really bad the next day. So it's so mental, it's so erratic sometimes, like I think consistency is king. If you can play the same level with less variance from day to day, I think that's ideal. But in the event that you're not able to, and you just have too many good and bad days, how do you manage that? I'm kind of curious, because I think that's something that I want to learn too. Like, um, is there anything that you have to say about that, Alex?
How to manage like your difference of match play, like your level?
Well, yeah, because I think generally I've seen, at least at a rec level, that the level of play, it does vary from day to day. Of course, we tennis isn't our career.
Yeah.
We're not full-time tennis players, so of course we're doing other things. We
Yeah.
might get tired one day, whatever it is. But but when you're playing a match, there's no excuse. Like, you have come to play a match, the focus should be on the match and the opponent and all these other
Sure.
things. So, tell me more about having a variety of plans, of course, does it come from studying your opponents? Does it come from journaling? Like, what do you do? Like, it's kind of, asking about preparation, really.
Yeah. I mean, I journal. I journal between matches. If I play tournaments, I journal just every day myself right now. It really helps me with my mind and just get clear, get organized, with whatever is going on in my life, what I want to improve in my life in tennis or in coaching, with my job, like all of that. I think journaling, for students, like I all of them have a journal, and I ask them, sometimes I ask them, really consistently, and then sometimes there's a little bit of time that we don't do it. But I would say, every 2 weeks, like I ask them to go into their journal and write about how their week has been, what they've been working on, look back at last week. I encourage them to journal during all the matches and the tournaments. Um, Especially if they go to a different coach as well and have clinics and
Right.
stuff and tournaments, like get good at you taking ownership over your tennis. So you are in connection with your tennis. Was there another question to that?
Well, no, you did answer most of the question, and I kind of want to take some of the answers, the answer that you gave, and kind of project it at the pro level. And
Mm.
of course, Alex, feel free to chime in. But I have a specific question for Tarun, actually. Like, I know, Tarun, between you and me, we had discussions about the dominance of certain players on certain surfaces, and it to me, my idol Rafa Nadal comes
Yeah.
to mind, like how he has literally dominated our play, like nobody's even close to him.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of the data analytics that
Yes.
you care about, you
Yes.
study, you have information on? Like, what can our viewers, maybe this may not be necessarily for rec players, but at least put into perspective,
Yes.
from a statistical point of view,
Yes.
something
Yes.
that you might
Absolutely.
want to share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, uh, Rafael Nadal's record at Roland Garros, like it's like he's won 14 titles. Like I think he's won like what 95% of the matches he's played there. Now, there's this tennis analytics research done by Craig O'Shaughnessy, and this is actually quoted in Ian Westerman's book called Essential Tennis. So what he talks about is this dominance of Rafael. This is the most dominant record. This is insane. Nobody has ever done this. Nobody will ever do it.
Yep.
This kind of record is actually a delusion. So there is, if you peel behind the layers, so he's won like what 95% of the matches, but if you count the actual percentage of points he's won, he's won only a stunning only 55%. So the winning player, which is Nadal, has won only 5% more points than the player who lost uh, against all the opponents he beat. Basically, he's won only 55% of the points. So again, so this is basically a function of our tennis scoring system, which I talked about in the previous episode. So basically, think of it this way: a 6-2, 6-2 win. When one player beats another player 6-2, 6-2, it sounds like a perfectly one-sided scoring line. But if there were a number of deuces in the games, then you know that the number of aggregate points, the losing player actually won a lot of the aggregate points. So the match is closer than what it seemed. So again, in tennis, we say that most of the points generally end in an error. So to the player, to the junior player, to the rec player, the sense of perspective to have is that don't get mad about errors. Errors can and will happen. You can have the cleanest technique, you will make errors. No point in getting mad at them.
Mm-hmm.
And this you can see that in all the courts that you go to, player like screaming, like throwing the rackets and pouting and god whatnot, and then that leads into a cycle of frustration. The point
Mm-hmm.
is, when you're losing, it is one of the 55% on a good day that you will lose anyways. So
Mm-hmm.
take it on the chin, move on. Look at the reaction of all the pro players when they lose a point. I have seen Tsitsipas so many times. He misses an easy shot, turns his head around, moves on, moves to the other side of the court to resume the next point. They know it, that yes, it's an error, but it's time to move on. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us, the players and coaches.
One
I
of the
think.
things that I do, I'll just add one thing. One of
Yeah.
the things that I do is, I've started to do, because I heard somebody tell me this, and it's actually working, is, when I miss a point, that, well, there are two things. one, when I miss a point, which I guess I should have made,
Right.
I usually take a repeat swing of the racket to try to correct it. So I do that. Or if I'm kind of frustrated, I kind of look at my strings, play around with my strings, try to straighten them or something, and just smile and just move on.
Yeah.
And just certain things which are so important in matches. And this is where I want to ask Alex about body language. Like, how do you change your body language? How do you remain positive? What's kind of the things that you have done in the past? And how do you prevent yourself, if you're, say, losing, the urge to tank? Because that's just a bad energy, like what do you, anything that you've
Yeah.
something?
Body language is so important. I am very aware of body language. I really believe it's about getting good at letting go of mistakes. And like, if you need to, and finding ways to let go of whatever you need to, like, energetically let go of, so you can have good body language and you can have like better points. I mean, if you see the shoulders down, it just means that the thoughts are down, right? It's like a direct connection. And so you can fake it. Like I fake it a lot. I might be super tight, and then I walk around like showing to my opponent that I'm totally fine. And I might even say, like, I might win this ugly point, and I might say, come on, let's go, come on. And show them that I don't care. Like, I don't care if I'm playing bad. I'm going to try to win this match. And so I think it's really, you can say so much to your opponent, and that's not playing games. Like, that's just, you're being a good competitor. You're taking care of your own body language.
Do you think sometimes body language that you show can have an effect on your opponent?
100%. Like, you're totally aware of your opponent. You might not even know that you're aware, but like, there is something going on. And it even starts with just like when you like get on the court and you shake hands, or how you're warming up. Like, you can feel if that person is confident or not. You can see so much of how they respond. And if a person is not running down all the balls, or if a person is getting upset and super negative, like, I mean, I believe that I'm going to win the match. Like, it's going to be hard to feel threatened or intimidated by that.
Yes.
What happens if you come across somebody, because I asked because it's happened to me once before. You come across somebody and this may not, who's very intimidating to begin with. Like, there was an instance where it was like a friendly match or something. It was a random person, and it's some flex league that I was playing in the local area, and some guy showed up, and he just gave me some like negative vibes straight away. Like, during warm-ups, he was trying to blast winners, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, and he just had a bad attitude. He started calling me names. It was just unsettling, honestly. And I ended up losing the first set because I didn't know what was going on. I won the match. I think I lost the first set. I think I got bageled in the first set, actually, because I didn't know how to respond. Also, I wasn't as tennis mature back then. So definitely it affected me. Like I mentioned in the part one of this episode, is I'm kind of an emotional player, started to mature, but sometimes opponents can intimidate you.
Totally.
And other way is like body language, like you said. I know we are like kind of, we think we are not aware, but I think we are aware, because you are at the end of the day observing. It's probably harder in a doubles match because there are 4 people on the court, but still I feel like body language is key. And the other question I have for you, Alex, on this is, like, let's say you lost the first set badly, let's say 6-1, right? And you're like 5-1 down in the second set. How do you, I don't know. I don't know whether this is based on personality or not, but how do you like prevent yourself from just giving up, being like, I'm not going to win this match. I'm done. Like, it's only one more game. I stop trying. Like, I don't have that kind of attitude. Rafa Nadal, who again I keep bringing up because he's my idol, doesn't. Like, have you experienced a situation where you're like, no, I just want to give up. I just can't come back.
Honestly, no, I have not.
Yeah.
Because also I always try my 100%, like that's my strength. Have I had experiences that I allowed myself to tank a game? Not tank a game, but kind of a game that I'm like, I don't care if I lose the game, I'm just gonna go for it because I was tight or I was just like not finding a way to win. I've done that, and that's like actually like a strategy that I have.
Yeah.
Every time that I am tight, if I'm in doubles, then I'll say to my partner like, hey, I'm going to use this game to find my serve. Okay, I might double fault twice, but I just need to go for it. And then if that person will say most likely like all good, go for it. um so I allow myself to miss, and allowing myself to miss really helps me. But like, yeah, no, about giving up and for tanking for players, I mean, I would talk to that person. You know, if I'm coaching that person, like I would be like, hey, it's okay. Like, but what's going on? Like, what's going on that you did you not want to be here today? Do you need a little break?
Right,
How
right.
are you feeling?
Yeah.
Those are good questions. Tarun, I know you're the tennis parent, and you have seen. I have actually seen your son play too, and he's very good. He's very promising. Like watching him, like what kind of advice do you give him, like in these kind of situations? Because I know for junior players, it
Yeah.
can be like they are quite emotional. I've seen a bunch of them
Yeah.
emotional, and sometimes they just don't want to be there. Like,
Yeah.
how do you motivate them?
Yeah. I've coached a couple of kids like that. So I think the first thing is, if you are way behind in a match and you know that the other player is way beyond your level, so much better. Your objective is to spend more time on the court with them.
Mhm.
So prolong the match. Like, so that's that. I think that would be my first thing to tell them. That's why I love this junior team tennis format. Like, the coaches can go right up to the kids during the changeovers and tell them. So if I see a match that's completely one-sided, I will go to the kid and tell that kid that, look, please, I know this, you have no chance against this kid. I won't tell them that, but I'm telling you that you are behind. But if this kid is that better, where is this is an amazing opportunity to test yourself. Yes, try for one game, play it point by point. Maybe you will find something that you can pick on. You will win a couple of games. So reduce the margin of defeat. If you think you're going to lose, at least give it your best shot. So
Mhm.
I would try to motivate, and of course, so it again, it depends on kids to kids. Like, you don't want to, like, at the end of a one-sided match, and take them aside and tell them that you really sucked, and which might be the case actually, but there are lots of other ways to communicate with them after that, and then tell them that, like Alex perfectly said, that did you tank because you were fatigued? How are you feeling? And maybe we need a break. Maybe we'll come back in a couple of days and talk about it, and things like that. So did you follow your routines? Like, did you follow your routines between the points? Because the same 16-second rule helps kids reset between points. I mean, at least it creates enough dead time to prolong the match, if you think about it. And that itself sometimes is good enough to shift the momentum of a match, because a player who's getting on a run, once if there are breaks in, breaks of time, it can interrupt their
Mhm.
momentum. So anything can
Yeah,
happen. So yeah.
I agree. I wanted to add to that.
Yeah.
It's like it really isn't the end until the last point.
Yes.
And like in the moment that you have that one win, that you were down 5-2 in the third set or in second set, you have a little bit of more of that belief of like, hey, it's possible. And like you do it more and more. It's so common
Yeah.
that people still win when they're down. And like the more that you know that, the more that you're not gonna freak out or give up. And
Yes.
like also the other person needs to like finish. Like you
Yes.
need to like give them a chance to actually like struggle and like see if they can do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I actually like really think that like the top players are like, okay, let's see, like, can he do it? Can she do it?
Yep.
And it's for all levels. Like, can that person actually finish it off
Yeah.
or not?
Is there some sort of a visualization process that they're going through mid-match, like during the match, that you want to talk about, Alex?
I would love to talk about visualization. During the match, you can. you can use it, right? You can like go up to the line and be like, okay, I want this serve to go kick T, for example, and you can visualize it and then serve. I really like using visualization before matches or before certain things in life. And the way that visualization really works well is, let's say you want to change, let's give an example. You want to change when someone comes to the net and you struggle hitting your backhand and they come to the net on your backhand all the time. I'm giving myself as an example. Then you would visualize, okay, how do I walk around on the court when this is my matchup? First of all, I'm gonna first like see what actually happens, myself losing, how I get tight, and whatever usually happens. And then I'm gonna say, okay, now when I change it, does it look? How do I walk around? I probably walk around a lot more upbeat. I'm probably more positive, right? I'm probably taking it a lot better. Okay, so what does it look like when I hit that backhand? What do I do that actually is better? How does that feel? Like, how does it feel when I do that? And so you're practicing a positive thing and your body stores that. There's actually real science behind that. Whatever you think is actually happening. Like, and so your brain stores that information. So if you do that 10 times, you're coming in your match and that ball comes, someone comes to the net and you're getting that backhand. Well, you just practice 10 times the feeling that you can do it. Yep. So then when it happens in the match, when it counts, you have a way better chance of trusting yourself.
Beautifully said, beautifully said. And, you know, to ask Tarun, I had something in my mind that I was waiting to ask you before is, you know, we speak about visualization and preparation and all of that thing. How does risk come into the play here? Like, can you talk a little bit about risk calculus and mitigation of risk, or just you know, like, is it a good idea to take risks often in a match? Do you take risks only at certain times? I want to do a little bit of a dive into this topic. So Tarun, take it away, please.
Sure. So risk calculus is just a fancy word to basically say that it goes consistently with the growth mindset, where you need to improve. And when you improve your skill, you need to be able to execute it with confidence on the court in match play. So let me give you some examples. So just to set the context. So in order to improve, in order to create, offensive play, so that your skill level truly advances, you need to take risks in a match. And again, the better you get at it, the lower the risk becomes. So it's like a feedback loop, right? So you get better, the risk becomes lower, and then you this way you improve different parts of your game. And remember that you are taking a risk in a match only with the stuff that you have practiced in the practice court. And as we coaches like to say, add margin. So let me give you some examples. So often in singles play, you often see cross court rallies, and you will see that many people hit soft backhands. Now, the advanced players, that they have the option. They will drill the ball down the line. They hit heavy cross court. They take the offensive option, or they go short angle. You know that the point is getting over and they are going to win it. But you see the less advanced players do not have the skill. Therefore, they don't take the risk. They will simply bunt it back. They'll slice it or just hit it to the middle and run back to the baseline. Now the question to ask is, those who have developed that skill and they have executed it perfectly in the match, they have developed this. And think about it. They are taking a risk when you're going down the line or when you're hitting heavy cross court or short angle. They are doing it to generate offense, and they have taken that risk, and that's because, and they execute it because they have practiced in the court. So therefore the risk is less for them. So this is how you progress. Another example that really is a fun thing is, you look at the sub 4-5 level players in rec adult players. In doubles, they struggle against lobbing teams. You can see this. So, and it's a lob fest. My neck actually hurts tracking the ball up, like, so when they are like, when these rallies go on. So think about it. They don't hit proper overheads. And when they try to hit the overhead, you can see that the form is bad. They don't go back properly, and they don't load properly, and they are like going back and hitting it like this. Now, again, you can say that this is a technical issue, but I believe this is because they haven't invested the time in practicing it. So if you practice the overhead, now what happens? You nail the overhead against a lobbing team. So you have taken a risk in hitting an overhead. That is point risk. But what that has opened up is now the lobbing team, they will think twice before lobbing you now. What they're going to hit, they're going to try to hit stupid passing shots. So you have taken point risk, but that risk is going to open up other opportunities for you in the match. So, and again, the better you get at it, the lower the risk becomes. And this is how you improve. So to me, so this is what I call as risk calculus. It's really skill development and growth mindset, but you have to improve parts of your game, offensive parts of your game, so that you just get better. Yeah.
Well said.
Beautifully explained. I really like your explanation, Tarun, and I wish I could be as scientific and methodical like you.
You bring the science.
But
So the last part I want to add on this is that, so therefore, take your practice court time very seriously, because I'm saying take a risk, but take a risk only with stuff that you have practiced on the practice court. So a lot of times I see rec players just practicing aimlessly they just hitting rallies, then they play a few random 10-pointers. I myself have done that. So think about what you want to work on and practice, take that practice time seriously to work on something, and then you bring that to your match. Then you'll have confidence to play it in a match and take that risk.
That is so true, and I say the same thing. I discuss the same thing with my friends, and which is why it's like reps all the time, so that when you, and I think that I might have mentioned this at some episode, I don't remember which one, is like the more you play and the more seriously you take practice sessions, the actual match becomes a lot easier. It just feels more like a practice session, which is what you want. Like you're a little bit relaxed because you've done it so many times. Now, this is all your example about risks, about doubles tennis is a great segue into our next topic, which we really want to talk about doubles because it's very different from singles. It's a different, almost different art. It's very strategic in a different way almost. I did not start playing a lot of doubles until lately, so I'm still learning. Tarun, I think I can see you as a very competent doubles player with the way you play. And Alex, I know you have played doubles at the highest level, at least at the USTA level. Now, what do you guys have to say about doubles? Since we could probably do an entire episode on this and invite some, renowned doubles players, but can you shed some light about doubles tennis? Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? What do you like about it? And tell me more.
I love doubles. I think it's super fun. There is a lot more going on. Like when you watch a college doubles match, it's so energetic, so exciting. Pro level is exciting too. I think that most important for doubles, the way I see it, is having chemistry with your partner, like personality wise, and then also game style wise. You need to feel comfortable, because you're in a mental roller coaster together with someone. So communication is key. Being supportive, I think, is so important. Being a good doubles partner. And I mean, the net game is like huge. The serve, the net game, and then having strategies, right? Knowing how to poach. The more doubles gets practiced, the better the players get at coming in the net with singles too. I think doubles is very important. It's very ignored actually here in the States compared to Europe. In Europe, you have club matches. You have club matches every Sunday for 3 months. 2.5 months, and you train for that, and it's a really big deal. It's actually kind of like a one thing in the year that you're like, hey, it's coming, competition is coming. You call it competition, and then the better you get, the more money you get to play. But anyways, you play singles, doubles, and mix. And so if you're growing up with that, you train doubles a lot more. But then here you have college tennis, which doubles is extremely important.
A lot of coaches I know, some of the coaches in the area, they actually start coaching kids with doubles tennis before they actually do singles, which I find is very
Whoa,
fascinating.
I've
Very
never heard
interesting.
of that. That's
I
very
have,
interesting.
Yeah.
I think we, Tarun and I know, have a common coach who actually teaches
Yeah.
doubles tennis before
Very interesting.
singles tennis, which is very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
never thought it like that too. Tarun, like what do you have to say? This is kind of a spontaneous kind of question. I know you may not have been prepared for this, so feel free to have whatever thought you want to share in doubles has four people, right? Like
Yes.
you're partnering with somebody else. Now, complementary skill sets, I assume, are very important.
Yes.
Then there is personality match,
Right.
like similar type of people, or is it opposites kind of complementing each other? How does that work? And with two people, it's like double the complexity because there are two minds at play. Is it easier with two people or is it harder?
I
Depends.
think, yeah, it depends. Yeah, you're right. It depends. But I would think that it should, at the very least, there's a lot more variety of plays, right? So let's say you have the very simplest form is one is a strong baseliner and one is a very, very strong at the net. So they can complement very well each other. And, the way they set up plays and the way they set up the net person, the way they switch, because when you switch, you probably want the net person to be more ahead, or if they are in staggered formation, the net person has to stay slightly ahead. So again, so in doubles gives you that freedom to split up the court properly and to run different kinds of strategies, especially the communication, the positive communication, like Alex mentioned, is the key. Like keep each other pumped up and then work out strategies, run play. So if you think about it, the doubles court is just 3 feet wider on either side, but you get two people to cover it. So there are so many combinations in which you can split up the court, based on the player dynamics and based on the opponent. If you're picking on one player, or typically that should be a net player on which you're picking on. So then both people, they come forward as a team. Like the lobbing scenario I talked about, where you really want to come to the service line against a lobbing team and then start hitting overheads. That's one of the most fun part of doubles that I love. They're picking on a lobbing team. So
Do you think that being this is actually true for me? Do you think being friends off court helps in your doubles game? Because for me, that's very true.
Yes.
Like if I'm actually good friends with somebody, like similar type of personality, then we excel in doubles together because of chemistry.
Yes.
Now, if you're not so close, we may not gel as well. But I have seen people who are actually very different personalities off court, but they are very good together because I think their skills on the when they're playing tennis actually complement each other.
Yeah.
What do you that I think that's pretty fascinating to me. Like Alex, Tarun, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah. So I want to quote Rajiv Ram, the famous doubles player from the US. In one of the podcasts, I think it's Baseline Intelligence podcast, he mentioned that in doubles, the goal of every player should be to enable their partner to succeed. Now, if both players are going with that same mindset, then it just becomes amazing. And that's more likely if you probably, the personal chemistry is great, and which goes to the point that you said. So definitely, yeah. So there is that personal element, where are you able to communicate properly on a bad day? What are you doing on a bad day? On a bad day, are they just stewing? And if they are stewing, are you like helping them? So things like that. So that's where personal chemistry, I completely agree that's a very big facet to doubles.
Yeah. I agree. Sometimes you don't know each other that well, but just it personality wise it clicks, and sometimes like I think back about some of my best friends that I played doubles with, and one actually like it really doesn't work, but we're super close, but then on the court it just is not working at all. And then my other really close friend, it works really well. So I think for me it's not necessarily really about being close, even though it can help. It's more about like if it feels comfortable, if I feel pressure or not, if from the other side for that person too. So yeah.
It's definitely about comfort, and sometimes I have played with people who pressurize me a lot, and I don't want that.
Exactly.
I want to play I want to play with people who are rather relaxed, but they are competitive. Like I'm pretty competitive. I don't think I gel well with somebody who doesn't express or emote or communicate at all. Like I just can't play with those kind of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
same.
I love people who are, like competitive, they show some emotion. It's like it's positive for me in that
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. In junior team tennis, I have seen, it's a funny thing. I've seen this many times. One of the kids who's playing at the net is telling the partner while serving, "Hey, don't double fault, okay? Don't double fault." So
right, right,
Yeah, it's the
right.
worst.
helpful, right? Helpful.
That's the worst thing you can do is tell your partner, hey, just don't double fault, just hit the ball in
Yeah.
and I'll take care of it.
Yep. Yep.
Something like this. Hey, just hit it in. Like you're just like putting stress and pressure on that player.
I have a fun question for both of you. Uh, Tarun, first I'm going to ask you this question, and then Alex, same question for you. Can you describe the characteristics of your ideal doubles partner? Tarun, go first.
For me, the ideal doubles partner is somebody who can close at the net and who can support my serve. Like if they tell me serve here, I will serve there. But if they're able to run that play and close at the net, I'm happy. They need to help me hold because I get very down on myself if I can't hold, and that affects me.
Yeah, I'm the same actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, no, I'm not the same. I need people that like I feel like we can communicate.
yes,
If I'm having a
yeah,
bad game, they're okay. If I play bad in my match, it's
yeah,
still okay as long as I try.
yeah,
And I'm gonna have their back no matter what too. I would like them to be intense, competitive, um, pumped, um, easy to talk to.
yeah.
Alex, I think we should partner sometimes because
Yeah, we
those
should be mixed partners.
that's pretty much
Yeah.
the kind of same characteristics I look for.
I see there's the team
But
recruitment going on here already. So
yeah, 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 yeah.
The
And Tarun,
new
I think
Tennishackery team.
yeah,
exactly. I
yeah,
think we just need to add another member, and then we have two doubles partner.
yep,
Two
yep,
doubles teams.
yep.
Now,
We need
you
six
know,
though. We need 3 teams to have a team in the UCL.
that's true. That's true.
We'll work on it.
That's right. We are going to do that at some point. Now, we have spoken we have covered a lot of areas, guys, and I am sure there is more we can cover, but we have some time constraints.
Mhm.
So I kind of want to finish our episode for part 2 with kind of a fun segment, and I want to ask both of you again. Is we are about a couple of months into Tennishackery. We have seen some very positive feedback from people. I just want you guys to share, like, how is it being part of Tennishackery? What have you enjoyed so far? And what can viewers, listeners, and our subscribers expect going forward?
Well, for me, it's been so fun. Like I really, really enjoy it. It's there's several things that are really um great for me. It's like it's making me more involved. Like it's making me like talking about mindset. It's making me like go back to all my notes and my documents and the books that I liked. And I have two similar passionate people that are like wanting to talk about it and wanting to create an episode on it, and it's been so fun for me. It's making me, while we're doing one topic, those 2 weeks, the way that I'm with my students, I'm going through a process, and so it's
Right.
making me go a little deeper. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a partnership. I was looking to create something to help me with my connection with tennis and coaching, and also to create something that would be great for my students. So it's been great, and I'm super excited for more. And I'm very excited for our next episodes, because the first few episodes that we've done, which we planned, was really for us to work together and to introduce ourselves and to talk about like the wholesome coaching part and tennis part that we're doing with Tennishackery, which is mindset, which is the fitness part. At some point, we're going to go into mental health more, but now we're going to include ask people to come on, and we have some really great people lined up already. And so the next episode is going to be with someone that we get to interview, and we get to ask great questions, that has an incredible career, and it will be super fun for everyone to listen to that. And there are more lined up, so I'm super excited to actually like be in that questioning side of it all and learn from others a lot. But yeah, no, it's been great.
Happy to hear that, Alex.
Yeah.
And likewise for me, it's been very educational, like listening to you guys, and also, after all these episodes and all of our research that we have done, implementing the same for, personally on the court, as well as, sharing knowledge with some of my students.
Yes.
Tarun, same question to you.
Yeah.
What's your experience been so far with tennis?
Oh, it's been fun. I think when we started out, the vision of our vision was to kind of, as you know, we have spent so much time on the court teaching. So it's like it's like to develop a network brain, the three of us, where we can they bounce ideas off each other, and we are just putting ourselves out there, sharing our ideas, doing our research. These things take research, so we're putting in a lot of effort, and I'm just enjoying this, man. It's like 10 what the time is, what 10:25 on a Saturday night. I'd rather not be doing anything else than this. So it's like, yeah, so it's been an amazing experience, and I think there's a lot of exciting stuff that like Alex mentioned that we have planned, and it's not just limited to podcasting and broadcasting, I might add. So stay tuned for all of that. But for that, first we need to get a website up, and the IT guy has to work overtime.
Yeah, and if you guys like this episode, please like and subscribe. It would help us out a lot. And stay tuned for our next episode.
Yep. Absolutely. And trying to my tennis hackery idol is Tarun. He advertises us so well. I would love for Tarun to finish this episode talking about how you guys should like, comment, subscribe, and provide feedback on our social media platforms. Tarun, please finish the episode with your remark.
Oh yeah, thank you for the segue to the closing remarks. So yes, so guys, so we have come to the end. So again, our handle is @Tennishackery. You can find us on all the social platforms. We are on Facebook, we are on X, which used to be Twitter, we are on Instagram. Instagram is very big for us, so you will see all the updates come there. And this episode will go on our YouTube channel, again, @Tennishackery. It's @Tennishackery everywhere, and the audio version goes to Spotify, and soon we will be going on the Apple Store as well as the Google Store as well. Again, @Tennishackery. Our website is tennishackery.com. You go there right now, you will see a piggy, which doesn't mean that it's been hacked. It's just that it's not been developed. So the pig is still out there. Tennishackery.com is not. Yep, that's it. Please follow, like, share, subscribe. Leave us comments. Leave us a review on Spotify. So those reviews really help boost our podcasting numbers. Like I said, we are on a 4x growth pattern, which has been repeated exactly once. So like I said, 10, 40, 160, 640. So once it crosses the 500, there is going to be a TikTok dance. So with that, we'd like to sign this episode off. Bye.
Bye, guys.